All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Heavenly Father, we ask for you to forgive us of our sins and the sins of our ancestors, Father. Thank you for another blessed Shabbat. Thank you for another day above ground, Father. We don't take these days for granted. We're grateful for another time to assemble, Father, because your scripture says that not to forsake the assembling of ourselves, Father. And we just ask for you to give us discernment, guidance, protection, and wisdom, Father, because the deceptions are truly deep, and we need you now more than ever, Father, because our people are falling away even to this day, Father. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Okay, so y'all know we've been going over Ezekiel and the end times, and we've it's really been kind of about who even the old rabbis and through history claims Rome is, who are the people behind it.
Yeah, we got to turn right now. Oh, sorry.
And it's been a lot of confusion because there's people that work behind the scenes, and throughout history there was these people that they call Khazars now. So just like people go to that piece of joint Little Caesars, we've been saying it wrong the whole time. It's really Little Khazar. That was the word for Caesar or Khazar. They were a people that we were fighting. According to the book of Jasher, the Jacobites were fighting against Khazars even back then. And it's the people that were such a warring race of people, and they would mix in, and Esau especially mixed in with them in Rome, to where they really kind of became one that's kind of hard to differentiate who's who. And in all of this, in some of the lore, Rome was probably founded by one of the descendants of Esau, if not Esau himself. And I don't know why it's doing that.
It has a mind of its own.
That's strange.
That's the technology.
Huh. Yeah.
And on the Epstein case.
And like I said, it has a mind of its own. Apologies for that. But anyway, the enemy is very deceptive. There's a lot of false flags going around. There's a lot of witchcraft involved, Mandela effect, if you will. So today's lesson is kind of subtitled The Devil's Simulation. Before we get into anything, fair use, this is for educational and training purposes. Fair use, this is for educational and training purposes. So this is just a video showing one of the main proponents of why Trump was reelected. One of the things that he had kind of stood on was he said he was going to release the Epstein files.
But of course he's not, because he's in the file.
Well, according to him, he's not, right? And can you grab this mic too? According to him, he's not. So we're just going to watch this video, and we'll go from there.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Missing in much of the MAGA frenzy over the Jeffrey Epstein files are the voices of survivors of the sexual abuse he perpetrated against them. Many, like our next guest, have joined the call for transparency and for the Trump administration to release the files as promised. This comes as Virginia Giuffre, an outspoken survivor of sex trafficking by Jeffrey Epstein, died apparently by suicide at age 41 in April. She was the first survivor to come out publicly against Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who remains in prison. She also sued Prince Andrew for sexually assaulting her when she was 17. The disgraced prince was forced to step away from his royal duties and settled with Giuffre in 2022. Her family said in a statement, quote, Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors, unquote. Just last week, when the FBI and Department of Justice announced there was, quote, no incriminating client list, It also said Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims over 2 decades, far more than previously known. For more, we're joined by Teresa Helm, who is a survivor of sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein, facilitated by Ghislaine Maxwell. She was assaulted by Epstein in the early 2000s. She now works as the Survivor Services Coordinator for the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Her 2024 piece for Newsweek is headlined, "I'm a Jeffrey Epstein Survivor. The documents are an opportunity." Thank you so much for joining us. You, Teresa Helm, have talked about the dangers of grooming. As you see all of this taking place, the uprising within the MAGA movement, lost are what sexual violence survivors go through. Talk about how you first met Jeffrey Epstein, how you were brought to him, how you were groomed.
Well, hello, good morning. I can certainly talk to that. So I was attending college out in California at the time and was a full-time student and a full-time employee there. And so that began the process of recruitment to grooming, passed along the line from various people as far as, this is an opportunity that I'd like for you to see if you're interested in and go talk to this person. So after speaking with a couple young women about an opportunity that thought I was being blessed with at the time, I eventually met with Ghislaine Maxwell, who really, what she did was pretty astounding in the fact that within a day, I was convinced that I was in a safe, healthy, wonderful environment, blessed with an opportunity to pursue a career that I had only dreamed of having. In fact, that was my dream, to do what she had stated I would do alongside her, working for her. She was very polite and kind. She built trust in a very, within hours, I thought that I had really landed the opportunity of a lifetime. My family was very pleased that I was there interviewing with her, which is what the intention, that's what I thought I was there for, was an interview, and things went so amazingly well. And then she was so successful in all of that, very, I would call it, master manipulation. She was very calculated in her craft and did it very well. I was very young. I mean, I was an adult, 22 years old. However, I had such big dreams and aspirations and determination, and really wanted to make the most of this opportunity that I thought that I was getting, to the point where at the end of my time with Ghislaine Maxwell, although I hadn't known that there was a partner, as she referred to him, that I would be meeting at the end of my time with her. I hadn't heard Jeffrey or any other person's name the entire time, from beginning sitting behind the desk at work in California at the college, to meeting Sarah Cullen at the beach, to who then introduced me to Ghislaine. I had no idea that there was a final person that I was going to go meet. And once I learned of him by the name of Jeffrey, I did not, I paused and thought about some things, waved any kind of red flag in my mind, because again, she was Ghislaine was so good at what she had done and built that trust in me. And so then I walked myself to Jeffrey's home later that day to what I thought was to interview with him, without really a lot of question, actually being quite excited, because I thought, well, if I was so successful here with Ghislaine, which he has really made me believe that I have been, now I get the opportunity to go complete this, like a second round of the interview. And that was really, I walked myself into tragedy. I had no idea I actually should, and I will reframe that. I didn't walk myself into tragedy. I was lured there. I was coaxed there, coerced there, under false and fraudulent, conditions and expectations.
And it was it was then that Jeffrey Epstein assaulted you?
That's right. There in his very big, beautiful home there in Manhattan. The home that Ghislaine was raving about after I had been complimenting her on her home and speaking about the different various buildings and the architecture and how much I enjoyed it and comparing different cities to New York. And then she raved about his. If I thought hers was great, wait till I see his. Yeah, so it was there. Mm-hmm.
So you have joined the call for the Epstein files to be released. Can you explain why you feel this is so important?
Where I stand with all of this is in, utter solidarity with survivors of this entire nightmare that's just been ongoing for decades with these people that have gotten away with so much for so long. Whether it was a failure of the system back in the 90s, whether failure of the system again in the early 2000s. There are so many women and at the time, even, children that have been harmed by these people. I really urge everyone to focus the commitment, the attention, all this time, effort, and energy onto bringing to light what needs to bring to light for these survivors and their healing, and less about political weaponization of anything, because at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about people's lives, and it should not be weaponized either way in any administration, no matter who's in control at the time, who did what when, who's doing what now.
Want to do these type of things to men, women, or children? What manner of person does it take? Why do they do that? These are the questions that, sometimes I just think about,
like her or the Epstein dude?
The Epstein. And make sure you got the mic on. Yeah. These are questions that I was just thinking about. And as I was thinking about, I just watched a few other videos.
This is
Of course,
Democracy
Power,
Now!
of course. And in one of these videos, Trump is, now he's talking about the whole Epstein thing was a hoax. But yeah. Oh, okay. No, hold on.
No, it's a hoax.
As the president grows increasingly frustrated with focus on the Jeffrey Epstein files and pressure from some of his own supporters to release more information.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
The Wall Street Journal alleges Trump wrote Epstein a birthday note in 2003, included in a collection of letters with a hand-drawn sketch appearing to be the outline of a naked woman. The Journal says the letter ends with, quote, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." President Trump calls the letter fake, writing on social media, "These are not my words, not the way I talk." He's now threatening to sue the outlet and owner Rupert Murdoch. Hours after the Wall Street Journal report, President Trump ordered Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek to release pertinent grand jury records from the accused sex traffickers case, which Bondi says she will ask the court to do.
I've never seen this type of request before.
Mitchell Epner, a former federal prosecutor, says a judge will make the final decision and the request could take months or more. And it's unclear how much of what the DOJ has it will seek to release.
It could be very broad, but it is not, and it is certainly far from.
That Trump was talking about he was going to get released the Epstein files because he said he had nothing to do with it, even though he was friends with the guy for over 15 years, if not longer than that. And now he said it's a big hoax that was orchestrated by the Democrats. But again, when he was running for this last election, he was one of the main ones talking about the Epstein files. He was drinking, like, we've been under so many different psyops. So the first presidential run for Trump, it was QAnon, especially when it came to the re-election when he ended up losing to Biden, right? There was this big psyop with QAnon and all this stuff going on. Now he's talking about the Democrats created this hoax. I'm like, and you said some dumb Republicans are going along with it. You were one of the ones that were going along with it. But now that you're in power, it don't matter no more. That's because we are a part of the devil's simulation.
So I guess all them girls who got raped.
Like, huh?
I guess all them girls who got raped, they never got raped.
Right. It didn't exist. It's a Democratic hoax.
It didn't exist.
None of this stuff, like the woman we just watched, she's a liar.
Yeah.
All the people that have been coming forward, they're just liars. And they said that the first woman that came forward allegedly committed suicide at 41.
The blonde hair girl.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
Right.
She was forced to do that.
Mhm.
They probably did it to her.
Because again, we're a part of this devil's simulation. It feels like it's a loop. Almost like it's like a never-ending story that keeps happening throughout like civilization and through the world. So we got another video.
That blonde hair girl, I would probably understand why she did it, because she was the first one to start bringing other girls to give them massages and all that, and then she didn't realize what was going to happen after that. But she was the first one to start doing it, then talking and bringing more girls from wherever she was from. And she was bringing truckloads of girls to give them massages for $200 at a time, and it's led to more.
Right. So we got another video. Hold on. Now this one is about Candace Owens, and we need to keep her safe because she's been on fire. She's been telling everything now, right? So let's see what she says about Jeffrey Epstein.
At 7:24 a.m., a photojournalist named William Farrington for the New York Post, he works for the New York Post, creates a file, the metadata became available, for the first 2 photos of Jeffrey Epstein being transported into the hospital where he's going to be pronounced dead just 12 minutes later. So I just want you to understand the amount of luck that this guy had from the New York Post. I lived in New York. You're not just a photojournalist that's just sitting outside to see who's going into a hospital. You get the photo, and it happens to be that you work for the New York Post, which is a whole Israeli op. Don't get me started. The New York Post, the one that did like Candace Owens Anti-Semite of the Year, New York Post, the New York Post that has literal IDF soldiers that write for them. Yeah, that New York Post, their photojournalist, William Farrington, happens to be in the right place at the right time, got tipped off and made it across town, wherever maybe he lived nearby. A lot of things would have had to go right for William Farrington to capture that photo. And then at 8:54 a.m., the first news report comes out of ABC from a journalist named Aaron Katursky. And he's the first that tweets that Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Sources tell ABC that Epstein committed suicide at MCC Manhattan. Now, a couple of things weird about this. First off, Aaron Katursky has got a lot of luck. He's one of those journalists that's always there when something happens. He also was one of the first to know that Michael Jackson was dead. Whatever, lucky guy. Now, what's even weirder about that guy is the fact that he works for ABC News. Why? Because ABC News infamously killed the Jeffrey Epstein story. They had it for years about the sex trafficking, about the girls, and from the top, the journalist that was lower rung, which was Amy Robach of ABC News, was told to kill the story. How do we know this? Because she got caught on a hot mic saying that ABC honchos plus the royal family came down and made her kill the story. Here is Amy Robach caught on the hot mic venting her frustration about the fact that she knew about Epstein and was told she couldn't report on it. Take a listen.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
First they gaslit her. Nobody knows who he is. And then they said, oh, you're just not running the story. And it was over. But now ABC News, mysteriously, first to report it, not the New York Post. It's virtually impossible to find anything about William Farrington on the internet. There's like one photo of him at an Israel Day parade. I'm not kidding. I can't make this stuff up, in New York.
if you believe in coincidences, but they take care of their own. Personally, I don't believe he's dead. I believe that was a cover-up.
That was a body double.
Because, I mean, you got the royal family, the so-called royal family. You got the American government, and you got the Jewish Mossad government. All three in cahoots. Now, that's an unholy trinity.
Side intelligence.
Yeah, that's a true unholy trinity, right? So as we keep going, but all of this stuff is happening for a reason, and we all know that.
7:24.
This is what's happening to America. So this is one of the, I guess you could say, this is one of the mechanisms that the Most High is using to further divide America. Because now, the MAGA people that are under that strong delusion of witchcraft, right? They are like starting to go ape because Trump has not been releasing the information like he claimed he would.
Yeah.
And that's starting to make them all wonder, and they're starting to get nutty, right? Okay.
Really, Israel is making a mockery of Donald Trump at this point. They're making a mockery of Donald Trump. They're making a mockery of this White House. They're basically just flipping America the middle finger and saying there's nothing you can do about it. We own you, and we have no respect for you. And then they say that, and then Donald Trump does exactly what they want, and then they do whatever they want, and then you're told you're winning. Because what are the odds? Is it a coincidence? Is it incompetence? Is it a cover-up? What are the odds that Trump surrounds himself with all of these people that are connected to the Epstein case? What are the odds? He's got Bill Barr in there. He's got Kavanaugh. He's got Acosta. He's got Lutnick. Maybe more. We don't want to be left with a foreign policy dictated by a foreign country. And we don't want to be left with a system run by blackmailed perverts and financial criminals. And no matter how many times you ask us to stop talking about the Epstein list, it's not going to happen because we correlate that to exactly what it is we're trying to fix.
They're starting to finally see that they've been under a spell. A lot of them are not fully going to wake up anyway because they just don't want to believe the lies, right? Even though it's right in front of us, because there's no way that you can be a proponent of releasing the Epstein information, but as soon as you become president, now it's a hoax created by the Democrats, right? So
Really, Israel.
A little video, but we're just going to start. So we're going to go to Exodus 21, right? Because from the videos that we watched, they talked about how they were being groomed. A lot of times they're being actually taken forcefully, right? Exodus 21, verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. When things like that happen, the people that steal somebody or put them in sexual captivity are supposed to be put to death. Scriptures also tell us about, sodomites. And how there was one account to where all the sodomites were kicked out of the land, and how there's a law against that. And when we broke down what sodomite is, it's one that is grooming a male to be a male prostitute. So in the scriptures, it talks about a male prostitute. And that's literally a man that's grooming a little boy for that dumb stuff.
They still do that in the Middle East.
Which they do that in the Middle East, but they do that here in America also. Because if y'all remember when we went back to Stranger Things and we talked about the kingdom of, what was it? The kingdom of Og and then Nimrod and all of that stuff or whatever. They talked about how they would traffic humans, right? The men would mainly be for food. The women would become priestesses or whatever, used to procreate and for sexual urges. Some of them would use the men also for that or whatever. But that's literally the kingdom that we're living in now, because they're still trafficking in the souls of men and in their sexual deviances, right? So again, this is a law of the Most High when it talks about if you steal somebody, put them in the sexual captivity, you're supposed to be put to death, right? And sodomites, they get cut off. Sodomy, that's because if a man lay with mankind like he lay with womankind, you're supposed to be put to death. This is the law of the Most High. So then, with us knowing who we are and how Brandon said whose we are, we have to understand that certain people, they have a different father. Right? And when I'm speaking father, I'm speaking spiritual. Like we should know who we come from, and we should be activating and actively working on that spirit of discernment that we have. So we're going to go to John 8, and we're going to read the words of Mashiach. And we're going to start at verse 11. She said, "No man, master." And Yahushua said unto her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." So in this account from John, this woman was caught in the very act of adultery, right? And then they only bring the woman, they don't bring the man or the men that was fornicating with her, right? He without sin cast the first stone. Then spake Yahusha again to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So it's our responsibility to follow Mashiach, to eat up his words, which is the covenant. The Pharisees therefore said unto him, you bearest record of yourself, your record is not true. Yahusha answered and said unto them, though I bear record of myself, yet my record is true. For I know where I came and where I go, but you cannot tell where I come and whither I go. You judge after the flesh. I judge no man. So the problem is these people have respecter of persons. They worship Trump. The Joneses, I think it was either last week or the week before, were talking about how now there's a Trump Bible. It's called what is it called? Trump Bible. There's a Bible that Trump's endorsing. I'll make sure I put it on the next lesson, but people are starting to worship it. There's also something called the Gospel of Donald Trump. And I'm working on putting that together. I'll probably try to put both of those in next one. But people are worshiping this man, right? It's respecter of persons. We're never supposed to do that. It don't matter what somebody's position is in your church or your assembly. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We're supposed to be eating the word, following the truth of the Most High, following Mashiach, right? Because again, we cannot judge after the flesh. And people, they just love that Trump's allegedly this great businessman, even though his big, beautiful bill actually adds over $5 trillion on top of the deficit. It did nothing to bring anything back. Right, a lot of the things that he said he's going to do, he's actually walking back. And he started out so fast, and it was really a smoke screen because we don't know what all was in the things that he signed. Yeah, so because he pretty much is sealing the fate of the United States because they're going to finish the border wall. Right, that was one of the things that he signed into law. And right before Rome fell, they created a wall around themselves. Right, because this is the new Rome, this is the new Babylon. Right. So again, we're not to judge after outward appearances. And yet, if I judge, my judgment is true, for I am not alone, but I and the Father that sent me. So they are on the same page in one accord. They're not judging after the flesh, but after the fruits and after the spirit of people. It is also written in your law that the testimony of two men is true. I am one that bear witness of myself, and the Father that sent me beareth witness of me. Then said they unto him, where is your father? Yahusha answered, you neither know me nor my Father. If you had known me, you should have known my Father also. So if you don't know me, ain't no way you know the Father, because he sent me. And I'm walking in my purpose every day. I'm speaking my purpose. I'm living my purpose. I'm showing y'all the purpose that the Creator gave for me to do. Right? And these words spake Yahusha in the treasury, as he taught in the temple. And no man laid hands on him, for his hour was not yet come. So again, in this day and age, we have to be constantly weighing the balances of people and labeling them wheat or tares, right? Because like in the quote unquote awakening, there's a lot of quote unquote big time leaders in the awakening that are falling away. Point blank period, saying they're not a part of the community no more, whatever that means. And basically coming against everything that the Most High has been trying to establish, because a lot of the people in this awakening were actually agents from the government trying to control the awakening and how they wanted us to awaken and not how the Most High really wanted us to do. But that's because we're a part of this devil's simulation. That's what they always do. Order out of chaos. Then said Yahusha again unto them, I go my way, and you shall seek me, and shall die in your sins. Whether I go, you cannot come. So you can't come where I'm going, right? Because I have a higher calling than you. And you don't know my Father, so you ain't no way you know me. So you definitely ain't coming where I'm going. Then said the Yahudim, or the Jews, will he kill himself? Because he said, whether I go, you cannot. Like, what is he going to off himself? What is he talking crazy? And he said unto them, you are from beneath, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. So even when Yahushua was here, he already knew, look, there's some things that are going to happen world's going to get crazy, wars and rumors of wars. I am not of this world, so it doesn't matter to me because I have to complete my purpose. And that's what we have to be focused on. What is our purpose for the kingdom, for the Most High? What is it? You shall die in your sins. He said, I said, therefore, unto you, you shall die in your sins, for if you believe not that I am he, you shall die in your sins. Then said they unto him, who are you? And Yahushua said unto them, even the same that I said unto you from the beginning. So he's not really giving them straight answers because these were wicked people, right? Because we know that at that point in time, the Jews of the Yahudim had got what? They had gotten usurped by the Edomites, who were claiming to be Jews and were not. So a lot of them were in this conversation. And we're going to see it in one of the next verses. Then he says, I have many things to say and to judge of you, but he that sent me is true. And I speak to the world those things which I have heard of him. They understood not that he spake to them of the Father. Then said Yahushua unto them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall you know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself, but as my Father hath taught me, I speak these things. So again, he was only sent to do the will of his Father. That was his passion. That was his drive. And he that sent me is with me. The Father hath not left me alone, for I do always those things that please him. A lot of times in this walk, we feel like we are alone. It's like there's not a lot of people in the awakening. There's not a lot of people that really believe. People be hem-hawing, floating on the fence and whatnot. But the Most High, and even Yahushua said that he would send a comforter. And a lot of times we be feeling alone because we're not praying. When you pray, you can discern a lot of things a whole lot better. A lot of things don't catch you off guard anymore because once you're praying, you are not of this world, right? Because you're getting all of your information, you're getting your criteria from your source, which is the Most High, and not this world media. Because right now, for a lot of people, the media is their source of information and their source of truth. And we should know by now that ain't no way. You got to do your own research, and you got to spend time, and you have to pray on your own. When no one's around, not when it's popular, right? That's when you can really get close to the Most High and really work or have him to increase you in discernment. Because with the powers that should not be, a lot of them be wolves in sheep's clothing, right? Because he said that he is not left alone. I thought that was very, very powerful. Then said Yahushua to the Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So it's about repeating and continuously reading the word. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest you, you shall be made free? Now, this is how you know that these were the Edomite people, per se, that he was mainly talking to, because the Israelites just came out of Babylonian captivity. How can you say that we've never been in bondage?
I know, right?
So there's certain things that be in the text that once you know, like the history, you're like, okay, there was a lot of tomfoolery. Those are the people that are claiming to be Jews and that are not, right? Then he says, Yahushua answered them, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. In this simulation that we're in, it is so easy to sin.
Yeah.
It's like the most appealing thing to do. It's the most common thing to do.
Without even thinking something.
Without even thinking, it becomes second nature, right? Because we're in this system of blasphemy, the system of chaos, the system of everything being flipped on its head. And a lot of the times just because we just don't sit down and read. Because once you read the text and then you see what's going on in the world, you're like, you can't claim that you're a quote-unquote Christian or quote-unquote big-time believer and you be doing everything that the book tells you not to do. And then when somebody shows you, sometimes it's open rebuke, sometimes it's quiet rebuke, you get offended. You get offended because you don't know the law of the Most High. You get offended because you want to create the laws that you live by. And that's not the standard that the Most High has set for us. It's not. right? Because when we continuously, habitually sin, we are the servants of sin. That means we have a different father. Then he says, if the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and you do that which you have seen with your father. Because it's a wicked system. It's a completely different God, or El, that these people be serving. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahushua saith unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of the Most High. This did not Abraham. So y'all want to kill me for no reason. But that's because there's two seeds in the earth. There's people that are following other gods, other Els. They got a whole different program that they're going with. But in the media, they'll say the right things, and people will just be like, oh yeah, he's a Christian now, or he's a God-fearing man. Yeah, God bless, Donald Trump, or whatever you want to say. Right. But he's doing that secretly, so he would be what you call a crypto Jewish person. In the Americans' eyes, he's a God-fearing Christian man, right?
He only Christian when it suits him.
Right. When the cameras is on and the lights is on. You do the deeds of your father. That's what these people do. Then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. Which is, they're talking about a different El. Yahushua said unto them, if God were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from the Most High. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. So if you love the Father, if you know the Father, then you would know me. You would love me, right? You would eat the words that I'm telling you. You would grab hold of this eternal life that I'm trying to give to you. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my words. For some people, it's closed up. Because there are vessels fitted for destruction. That's an unpopular truth. You are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And again, now we see Trump lying. Point blank lying.
I cannot believe he said that Epstein was a hoax.
Yeah, he's saying it's a Democrat hoax now, right? But again, this is because these people, they serve a counterfeit higher power, right? And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Verse 46, which of you convinceth me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of the Most High heareth the Most High's words. You therefore hear them not, because you are not of the Most High. So again, this is a time where we have to continually exercise that spirit of discernment. Because there's a lot of confusion going on. And it just never, like now, it ceases to amaze me how people are just puppets. They puppet exactly what they hear from the news media, verbatim, like it's true. Everything, no research.
They try to be the first one to, put it out there. They don't care if it's true or not.
Right, at all.
Yeah.
Because, and then even when you talk about the stuff going on with Epstein and Trump and all them, there's a reason why these things are happening. These are not what's going on. Even with Epstein having a mansion or an island, whatever, these things aren't new. Again, they're doing the deeds of their father. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Matthew 4, right? And figure out, so who's the God of this world?
The God of this world?
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer.
Right. Matthew 4, verses 7 through 11. Yahushua said unto him, it is written again, you shall not tempt Yahuwah the Most High, or your God, or El. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. So what's going on now? Yahushua, he had just fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and then he's being tempted, right? Tired, right? At the brink of everything, right? And saith unto him, All these things will I give you if you will fall down and worship me. All of these things that even the Epstein and them were doing was about a form of worship. And people just think that they were just deviants. No, they are worshiping their gods, right? They're worshiping their so-called creators or spiritual creators that give them power, right? These are forms of worship. It's not just about sex. It's about what they can do or what they can get out of the deal.
And it's an addiction too.
It is an addiction. It's a whole spirit. Then saith Yahushua unto him, get you hence, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Most High, your El, or Elohim, and him only shall you serve. Then the deceiver or devil left him, and behold, the angels came and ministered unto him, right? So, like you said, the God or El of this world is Ha-Satan. Daniel 10, verses 9 through 13. Yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. And behold, a hand touched me, and set me upon my knees and upon my palms, on the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto you, and stand upright, for unto you am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for the first day that you did set your heart to understand and to chasten yourself before the Most High, your words were heard, and I am come for your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia, because whole nother God or El or being withholding Daniel from getting the revelation or the truth that he needed. This is why fasting and prayer is important, because even though it took him 21 days, he ended up getting the answer that he needed, right? That's why we're getting into the habit of fasting. We should all be getting in the habit of praying also, right? Because again, what we're fighting against is really not flesh and blood, it's principalities and powers, because these people believe in the gods that they serve wholeheartedly, and they will do anything for the gods that they serve.
If it gives them more power,
They'll do anything for it. And John 18, verse 36, Yahushua answered, right, talking about who this kingdom is. My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from here or from hence. Because again, this reality, this devil simulation that we're in, this is not the finality of the kingdom. This is not it. Right? So who created this kingdom?
The Most High. He created everything.
2 Corinthians 4. 2 Corinthians 4, verses 1 through 4. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath binded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. So again, this is showing that who the God of this world is. But who created this one is in Colossians 1, verses 12 through 16. Giving thanks unto my Father, which hath made us meet to be the partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness, and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Don't take that lightly. Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him all things were created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Mashiach created everything. Right? The Most High was there to tell them how to do it, and he would create it, right? He is the power of the Most High in action, right, to us. So he came into the world knowing that, like, man, I forgot I created, well, he didn't forget. I created this, and I know about this simulation.
He forgot how good it was, everything he created.
Yeah, I mean, because initially when everything was created, it was good.
Yeah.
But through progression of time,
Tainted.
the devil's simulation would just get worse and worse and worse. And we're getting to the point to where there's going to have to be an apex. That's why they have to create some type of world war.
Yeah.
It's coming. It has to do with the Jewish people. It has to do with the Roman Catholic Church. It has to do with Esau. It has to do with just people that just want to live sinful lives, right? But in order for us to be saved, America's got to fall. I'm going to keep saying that till I'm blue in the face. In order for us to be saved, America has got to fall. So just some things to note about the devil's simulation. It's the counterfeit to Yahuwah's creation. In many ways, it's similar, but it's not the definite article. Loyalty to this system is shown by doing the things that are opposite of the Creator's wishes, even in secret. So the things that are not pleasing to the Most High, that's what they do. And they master those arts. This is the origin of secret societies fronting as holy religions. All religions come from Nimrod's kingdom of Babylon.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Rome. All roads. Everything leads back to Rome, no matter how you see it in our day and age, because we're still under, whether you believe it or not, we're under a Roman occupation even now. The world is, though. It was prophesied in Daniel. It's still going on now.
Someone's watching.
Right. So if you don't mind, read this next slide.
Historian Alexander Hyslop wrote in his epic expose on the Catholic Church, the two Babylons, that Nimrod, also known as Ninus, was executed by Noah's son, Shem, the progenitor of the Hebrew race, for apostasy. His body was cut into pieces and sent to the four corners of the earth as a warning to anyone who might follow after him.
So most of the religions come from some type of Nimrod worship. Now it changes depending on the nation or the culture, but it's still, everything goes back to Babylon. Every last one of them. This is where the stories and the mythos come from. So you see this? This is, who is this guy?
I don't know.
What's eating it?
Like an eagle.
An eagle.
Yeah.
So this is Prometheus, right?
Greek stuff.
Right. Greeks, right? So this is truth mixed with lies. The Greek-Italian Prometheus was said by the poet Hesiod to have stolen fire from Olympus to give to man. Now, was this literal fire? Because you read it and you just think literal fire. Furious with him, Zeus bound him to a rock amongst the mountains in the Caucasus, where an eagle pulls out and devours his liver daily, as the immortal Titan's organ regenerated each night. So now this is how crazy this stuff can really get. Once the history that we've been reading, right? Because Esau or Edom, right, had become a part of the Caucasus, right? Through the Khazars or whatever, they became a part of these people. And you see an eagle is eating Prometheus on the Caucasus Mountains. So they've taken control and they're literally eating from their flesh, right? But when you just see a picture like that, and you don't know the history, you wouldn't even think like that. I'm like, so you're telling us in plain sight what's been going on the whole time, right? So what'd you say?
That's why I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who that is. I just see an eagle eating a person.
Right.
Stomach.
So that goes back to the mythos of Prometheus, but that's how prophetic and profound that is, because that's literally what's been happening. The Edomites have been eating the flesh of the quote-unquote Gentiles or the Caucasians this whole time, right? Because the Babylonian animal and the Roman animal was the eagle, both of them. Okay. So, like, again, well, once you know certain histories, you're like, you can just put things together like that. Like, okay, I never saw that before. So, furious with him, Zeus bound him to a rock amongst the mountains in the Caucasus, where an eagle pulls out and devours his liver daily, every day, as the immortal Titan's organ regenerated each night. Prometheus is considered by the powerful elite to be a metaphor for Lucifer. So the Edomites are eating from Lucifer. The light bearer. And fire is likened to the secret knowledge and power Lucifer bestows. So it wasn't that he gave them fire. He gave them secret occult knowledge and information on how to attain power.
Like Freemasons and all that.
Talking like the Freemasons. Right. So that's in the caucus. Huh?
Freemasons and all them other bootleg and all that stuff. Secret knowledge.
Secret knowledge.
And they won't tell nobody else. You got to be a part of them.
You got to be initiated.
You got to be one of us. In order to get that knowledge.
Rick Ross had a whole song about that, about when he finally became a part of it. Got to be initiated. Right? But even with all of the secret occult information and knowledge, whatever, we still have been given a promise from the fall of Adam. The Most High would send us a Ga'al, which is a...
You say God.
A Ga'al. What's a Ga'al? Kinsman Redeemer. Kinsman Redeemer. Genesis 3. Genesis 3 verses 14 through 15. And the Most High said unto the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and thus shall you eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. Man, I can't even see it. Thy seed and her seed. Her seed shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Or his heel. My bad. I don't even know why I did them like that. That was a little bit different. I normally don't set up those slides like that. That's my fault. So, the devil simulation. Their legends about Nimrod had the wife of Nimrod, because again, Nimrod was executed and his body parts were just sent to the four corners, right? So Semiramis, his wife, Nimrod's wife, seeks out his body parts to reassemble him, unable to locate his genitals. So that's what she's looking for. His genitals, but this is the nature of them. It's a deviant, lower sexual nature.
It's probably because she was trying to get pregnant by him.
Exactly. Locate his genitals. Some stated she fashioned them herself, so she put them together herself. Others that the fish god Dagon, a whole nother god, pulled them from the water for her. She then applied sex magic, designated by occultist Aleister Crowley as magique, and impregnated herself with a child of promise. Her husband reincarnated and renamed him Tammuz. So all of this stuff goes back to sex magic. Everything going on in the Diddy trial and all that stuff with the lubrication, all that goes back to sex magic.
Yeah, sex magic, but also she cheated on her husband to begin with, though. She wasn't even pregnant by him, by Nimrod.
Oh, you're talking about Semiramis?
Yeah, Semiramis.
Okay, I mean that's cool. Yeah. I mean I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah. But again, everything that's going on, especially with Epstein and the things that were going on, that's why Trump don't really want a lot of people really looking into it, because it's magic involved. Yeah. Sex, magic. Which is witchcraft, which goes back to the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which is really MK Ultra, but that's a whole nother thing, right? So this is a picture of St. Peter's Square, right? Now, you got a dome, and then you got an obelisk, or with a steeple. Do you remember what?
Is that the whole Catholic stuff right there? Like, see, I didn't know Dagon was popular in there.
Oh yeah. A lot of their headwears goes back to Dagon. Yeah. Right? And then again, you got obelisks. You see them all. And look, again, you got a dome and you got an obelisk, right? But it's hidden in plain sight, because you just see them and you're just like, I don't know why they keep building these things, you know?
They know what they're doing.
This sex magic is conjured in the architecture of the Vatican. An obelisk, which is a phallus, which is the male productive organ, across from a dome, which is a womb. So you got sex, but people look at it so innocently, but not them, because those in the occult, they know, like, yeah, this is like how a whole different seed is spawned out of, right?
But meanwhile, the population think it's just nice art.
Yeah, it's so artistic. Like, no, they talking about sex, baby. They talking about you and me, right? That's what they talking about. The Egyptian version of the legend of Nimrod has a fascinating twist. The good god Osiris, which is Nimrod, is murdered by his evil brother Set or Shem, while his wife Isis or Semiramis manages to conceive his son Horus with him. Posthumously, it is this undead body part of Osiris that sprouts up the many obelisks around the world, and the most significant of them are erected across from domed structures that represent the womb of Isis. Right? This is from the Illuminati Unmasked. Right? So they don't just put a dome and an obelisk there for no reason. They giving worship to their God. You know, and then those that don't know, like, okay, so we can go here and we're going to be good. We just got to go to the right house and say the right things, and we're going to be in that thing. If you're a part of the occult. Some of their other gods that they serve, one of them, her name was Sybil, right? In Greece, she was the mother goddess. Sybil was honored in such fashion. The most iconic example of blood sacrifice was to Sybil was the slaughter of a bull upon her altar, known as the Taro Bolim, right? Because remember, when Moses went up for 40 days and 40 nights, he came back, and our people were having a sex orgy, and they were doing stuff with the bull. There's nothing new under the sun, right? That she really goes back to the Queen of Heaven. The consort of Sybil was Attis, a youth who was dedicated to her. He was so dedicated to her that he cut off his own genitals in her service. You said it earlier, these people will do anything for the service of their God. And we can't give our Creator 10 to 15 minutes of prayer a day. An hour's worth of prayer or reading a day. But they'll cut their whole genitals off. Mess you up for life. For life. The dedication that they have is something, honestly, to be examined. Yeah, I ain't cutting my genitals off. That ain't happening. The voluntary or involuntary castration of young men became a key part of pagan rites. Because all of this stuff, even Rome and all that stuff goes back to paganism, right? Such boys were presented to kings as cowed servants, guaranteed not to interfere with royal harems.
Oh, yeah, so you won't be having sex with none of the other women up there.
Mm-hmm.
No kids, no babies.
Right, no babies. If you don't mind, read this one.
All right. These abominable practices go back to the dawn of civilization. Across the centuries, it was learned at court, how you say that, eunuchs? Eunuchs could also be employed as minstrels, known as castrated. Lack of testosterone. That's what I said. Lack of testosterone meant that the victims, what is that?
Bone joints. Just say bone joints right there.
Okay, bone joints did not harden in the normal manner. Thus, the limbs of the castrated often grew unusually long, as did the bones of their ribs. This, combined with intensive training, gave them unrivaled lung power and breath capacity. Operating through small, child-sized vocal cords, their voices were also extraordinarily flexible and quite different from the equivalent adult female voice. Their vocal range was higher than that of the uncastrated adult male. What is going on?
So back in ancient times, like they figured it out. Once we castrate them, they have high-pitched voices.
Lord, I bet they do.
No testosterone, right? You're going to keep reading because it gets weirder. Yeah. But like all roads lead to Rome. I'm going to keep saying it. Go ahead.
With good reason, it's a practice known by an Italian term. It wasn't until 1861 that the practice was finally outlawed in Italy, but it continued to be openly tolerated and secretly encouraged by the Vatican at least until 1959.
So why would the Vatican want that thing?
Because they ain't supposed to be having sex in the Vatican anyway, so they want everybody else to be like them, I guess.
Okay.
It's just not only that, but also because it's a whole cult going on.
You right? Okay.
Thousands of boys were mutilated regularly. How you say that?
Ostensibly.
Yeah, ostensibly to give them singing voices unattainable any other way but most never sang after they were victimized.
So the reason was that we're going to give them the greatest singing voices ever, but most of them didn't sing though.
What is really going on?
Yeah, that don't even sound right. If I'd have heard that, that don't even sound right. So I'm going to get the greatest singing voice, but I can't sing?
I'm not going to use it?
No.
Let me see. Ostensibly to give them singing voices, unattainable any other way, but most never sang after they were victimized. As the guardian who admitted, let us remember the many thousands of boys who did go under the knife, did go under the knife up to 4,000 a year.
That's insane. 4,000 a year in that region?
Right. Up to 4,000 a year between the age of 8 and 13.
So this was like a normal thing going on in the Roman Catholic Church.
You were a kid.
Yeah, bro. Don't even, barely going through puberty.
Yeah.
Between 8 and 13. Yeah.
But whose names are long forgotten. Hundreds ended up on the streets as beggars or prostitutes.
Because they weren't allowed to sing, so they become prostitutes.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to be doing that with the men.
Man.
Or with the women either.
Yeah. Prostitute is extremely misleading. It conjures images of male gigolos servicing desperate women. The reality then and now is that the majority of the male prostitutes are violated serving homosexual men. This was particularly the case for boys who had been feminized by castration.
So they would do that so they would get these high-pitched voices and it'd be just like a woman.
Remind them of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Vatican really wanted that to happen.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
But again, and I know you're wondering, like, how does this tie to Epstein? We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But this has to do with Sybil and Addis. So then it says, fitting in perfectly with the agenda was how most boys never survived the procedure. A lot of them died. Excused as having fallen to incompetent surgeons, they were offered up before Addis and Sybil, regardless of the reason. So if they don't survive, okay, we'll just offer it up to these guys, right? For that reason, whether truth or propaganda, regardless of the reason, whether truth or propaganda, and those were the ones who survived the operation, depending on the executant. At best, a skilled surgeon; at worst, a backstreet barber or abortionist, or the knife wielders of Norcia, Umbria's pig and boy castration capital. Eesh. There was a very high mortality rate.
I bet.
Some of these deaths were the result of hemorrhaging or post-operative infection in a pre-antibiotic age. Others came from overdoses of opium, used as a sedative in conjunction with a hot bath and judicious pressure on the carotid arteries. The papacy sanctioned this behavior with a papal bull in 1589 by Pope Sisto V. So he wrote this edict like, hey, no, we're going to keep castrating these boys. We got to keep them in rotation, right?
Satisfy them impulses.
Got to satisfy them sexual urges, right? Because they're supposed to, like you said, they're supposed to have a vow of celibacy, right?
Yeah, supposed to.
Allegedly. So then we're gonna learn about one of the people. His name was Hethus. I'm just gonna say it that way. He reported that he had been sexually abused by a Roman Catholic clergy at one of their boarding homes. In response to him alerting the authorities, the Roman Catholic clergy had him forcibly castrated involuntarily. So he goes and snitches on them. They castrate him.
Oh my goodness.
This is the type of wickedness that we be dealing with. And that, again, this is a form of worship. They're not just doing that for no reason.
And here's my thing. They're supposed to be having a vow of celibacy, but then you turn and do homosexual stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, but you do it in secret, so
Yes.
nobody's going to believe it because you're so holier than thou,
nobody
right?
don't question you.
Because remember, even like that with the genitals, like from the book, the Lost Book of King Og, I think Nimrod, he'd end up getting hit with a sword in his private areas or whatever, and according to that account, he made all of his men get circumcised themselves also and get like that, right? So again, this is a form of worship because a lot of this stuff goes back to Nimrod. Because of course, if the Most High has an ordained circumcision, the enemy's got to have a circumcision, right? So again, he goes, this Hank Huthus, he goes and he alerts the authorities about what happened to him being sexually assaulted, and then the Roman Catholic Church castrates him. Then it says when he went to the police, they turned him back over to the Catholic authorities. So then he goes to the police and they return him to the Catholic authorities that just castrated him. So nice. 2 clergymen were convicted of abuse, but Mr. Huthus, a victim, was nonetheless transferred by police to a Catholic psychiatric hospital before being admitted to the First Joseph Hospital in Vigo later that year. Court papers claim that he was castrated at his own request, without any written or physical evidence to substantiate this false claim. Within 2 years of going public, Hank was pronounced dead in a car accident. Because they'll do anything to stay in power. It says since 1945, there were over 1,800 reports of sexual abuse by clergy or volunteers at a Dutch diocese. Right, that's just one of them. Evidence shows that the government inspectors were aware that minors were being abused at Catholic-run psychiatric institutions, and they did nothing. The government knows about it, so that means that they are complicit. They in on it, so they're complicit with these things. And again, when you look into break down that the term, the Hebrew term for temple prostitute, you are grooming young boys, and you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to get put to death. Minutes of meetings held in the 1950s show that inspectors were present when castrations were discussed. The documents also revealed that the Catholic staff did not think parents needed to be involved in the castration. They didn't need to know. They didn't need to get permission. They would just castrate them, their sons. That's how far this rabbit hole gets down, right? Then this slide. There are also allegations that Vic Murgen, a former Dutch prime minister who died in 1975, was linked to the case. In 1956, Murgen was the chairman of the Gelderen Children's Home, where Mr. Huthus and other children were abused. He intervened to have prison sentences dropped against several convicted priests convicted of abusing children. So then they have enough power to even get them out of prison.
So they're untouchable.
They are untouchable because they are the government.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Rome. Rome, the Vatican, they're still running things even over here.
Yeah.
Even over here. Now, I know we've talked about the Feast of Bacchus, right? But did you know how crazy they would get on the Feast of Bacchus? Now, this is back in Yahush's in them time. Right? I want you to read this next slide if you don't mind. Dionysus
was known as a presence for a man to let go or to give himself over to his basest desires.
Mm-hmm.
What a righteous man might resist as the lustful wants of the carnal man, the followers of Dionysus embrace as the incarnate power that would, in the next life, liberate the souls of mankind from the constraints of this present world and from the customs which sought to define respectability through a person's obedience to moral law. Until that day arrived, the worshippers of Dionysus attempted to bring themselves into union with the god through a ritual casting off of the bonds of sexual denial and primal constraint by seeking to attain a higher state of ecstasy.
So they're trying to get to this higher state so they can connect with their god, their El, right? Serving this god Dionysus, which is really Bacchus. So Bacchus and Dionysus. Keep going.
The uninhibited rituals of ecstasy,
So
reborn outside the body,
Okay.
was believed to bring the followers of Dionysus into a supernatural condition that enabled them to escape the temporary limitations of the body and mind and to achieve a state of
enthusiasm
or outside the body and inside the God.
So through these perverted sexual acts, they get outside the body and inside of a god.
Possessed.
Possession. Okay, you broke it down. Okay, you don't have to say nothing.
No, like, I ain't heard it in
Enthusiasmos, right? That's where you get enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But this is all, like, that's how intricate this devil simulation can be. That's why they do these sexual acts of deviance and whatever, because again, they get powers from these gods. And they keep doing it. So I'm gonna read the next slide. Then it says, the Bacchae, women, right? So the women that serve Bacchus, married and unmarried Greek women had the right to participate in the mysteries of Dionysus. Migrated in frenzied hillside groups, dressed transvestite, in fawn skins and accompanied by screaming, music, dancing, and licentious behavior. When, for instance, a baby animal was too young and lacking in instinct to sense the danger and run away from the revelers, it was picked up and suckled by nursing mothers who participated in the hillside rituals. So they was taking care of the baby, right? Okay, that's fine. On the other hand, when older animals sought to escape the marauding Bacchae, so they see these women coming and they're just trying to get out of there, right? They were considered resistant to the will of Dionysus and were torn apart and eaten alive as part of the fevered ritual. So they would just be eating animals raw if they tried to run from them. Rituals of blood, right? This is this devil simulation. Human participants were sometimes subjected to the same orgiastic cruelty, as the rule of the cult was anything goes, including lesbianism, bestiality. Later versions of the ritual, bacchanalia, expanded to include pedophilia and male revelers. And perversions of sexual behavior were often worse between men than they were between men and women. Any creature that dared to resist such perversions of Dionysus was subject to sparagmos, torn apart, and homophagia, consumed raw. So they would even eat people. If you tried to resist their sexual urges during this time of Dionysus and Bacchus, the same spirit that was prevailing back then with them is prevailing with these people now. Just like that woman committed suicide, right?
But that bestiality has become more popular again.
Is it?
Yeah, because remember, what's the name? Put it on our group page, text message. But it's becoming popular again, bro. Like, what in the world?
Because they're going back to worship the ancient gods.
And it'd be like, it'd be married couples.
Mm-hmm.
The wife is doing it, make the husband happy. Like,
Weirdos, man. Yeah, I just love it when my wife makes love to a horse. That don't sound right. That don't even.
Or your dog, your family dog.
Your family dog.
Your family, yeah.
Keeping it in the family for real. That's crazy. Ugh. In Rome, going back to Sybil, worship of Sybil was said to give priestesses the ability to attain great knowledge or see into the future. A process known as a Sibylline oracle. Sexual perversion also translated into military power. So in Rome, these women would be able to become oracles, can see into the future by doing these sexual magic rituals, right? And then, of course, we know about in Greece, Sparta practiced homosexual pairing amongst warriors, but the most renowned and successful was the sacred band. You know, they always make movies about, Thebes, or they talk about Thebes, Band of Thebes, right? Was the sacred Band of Thebes, an elite unit of no more than 150 soldiers, each having a homosexual lover. So this is the part that they really don't really tell you about. This is how they were able to, the Greeks were able to come and, I guess, beat everybody. They would get on that homosexual power to their gods, and they were able to win. And Rome just, rode on that roller coaster. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm just bringing the truth to you. That's all I'm doing.
So they come through the back door every time.
Yeah, straight back door. There's no front door for them.
Oh, man.
Straight back door.
What's
Say what?
going on, world?
So, okay, in the 2nd century Roman marble of Mithras, this is another god, slaughtering a sacrificial bull, always depicted as being aided by a serpent and a scorpion. Serpent and a scorpion, which attacks the bull's genitals. They worshiped this thing. This piece was transported from Rome and brought to the British Museum because of the secret importance, right? Now there's this thing. Now this thing is called a Phrygian cap. So pay attention if you ever see people wearing caps like this, right? The Phrygian cap was worn by Attis and Mithras, was seized upon by the Luciferian elite who manipulated the revolution of the 18th century in America and in France, right? So now you see this coin right here? This is a double-headed eagle coin. It says, maintaining the Templar duality of their icon, the two-headed Roman eagle. So again, they don't just rule one way. They got two heads. They're very slick, bro. They even let you know. Like, all right, you bruise one head, I got another one. Don't worry about it. The two heads are the two faces of secrecy. One for the initiated and the other for the uninitiated. The Phrygian cap was rebranded as a symbol of freedom. Of course, that's what they do. The Phrygian cap, symbol of freedom. No, it's not.
How would it be? Like, wow.
If the uninitiated asked any questions, they were told it was the cap worn by emancipated Roman slaves. Lying. There was little danger the uneducated masses would connect the dots to satanic debauchery and brutality. Though such was the fruit of the French Revolution in particular. You can even name your artwork The Furies of the Guillotine, and the masses still wouldn't understand. But again, this is another one of their symbols with this cap. Looks like
an American hat?
Right, but it's not. It's a Phrygian cap. It's a.
So do we have to have that symbol on there every time, so you know?
Yeah, but they make it look different.
Yeah.
Because look, all of these are different pictures of it. You see it? It looks different on this one too. That's a Phrygian cap also. So, what is the Society of Jesus?
The Society of Jesus. Living right. Okay.
It's a literal secret society. It was founded by Ignatius de Loyola. I can't even say that. In 1534. They have been ruefully nicknamed Jesuits, right? Jesuita, which means, are you like Jesus? Or are you Jesus-like? It is meant as an ironic accusation, as the company specializes in any method necessary to further the devil's simulation, aka the New World Order. So even though it's called the Society of Jesus, they do anything to undermine the word of Mashiach or the Most High. The guillotine was created by Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine, who was a Jesuit priest.
Of course.
A Jesuit priest created the guillotine.
Of course.
The Jesuits are the largest religious order in the Catholic Church. Many of the most important founders of the Society of Jesus, or Jesuits, were of Jewish origin.
Of course, man.
Remember the Roman coin with two heads?
Yeah.
Esau. The Jesuit order was created to counter the Reformation and to uplift the papacy. Since the beginning, the purpose of the Jesuits has included global political domination.
They've been doing it for so long.
They've been doing it, and then we know that's what the UN is really for, and that's a Jesuit-owned and controlled organization.
Wait, we don't really hear about the Jesuits.
No, we don't. They be behind the scenes.
Ever.
They be behind the scenes. Okay. It says the world wars and revolutions occurred because the Jesuits want to establish a one world government with the papacy at its head. Even over a century ago, their plans were succeeding. As 19th century theologian Luigi De Santis tells us, at what then do the Jesuits aim? According to them, they only seek the greater glory of God. All they want is the greater glory of God. But if you examine the facts, you will find that they aim at universal dominion alone. That's what the Jewish people are trying to do. They have rendered themselves indispensable to the Pope, who without them could not exist, because Catholicism is identified with them. They have rendered themselves indispensable to governors and hold revolutions in their hands, and in this way, either under one name or another, it is they who rule the world. So the papacy is also ruling through these Jesuits, right? That was from one historian. So this is from a different one. Protestant historian Henry Grattan Guinness stated, "It is important that we should clearly grasp one historical fact. The rule of Rome has never, since it first commenced, ceased to exist." They've always been ruling. Save once, for a very brief period during the Gothic invasions. It has changed in character, as we have seen, but it has continued. Rome ruled the known world at the first advent of Mashiach, and still rules hundreds of millions of mankind, and will continue so to do right up till the second coming of Mashiach, until the very end. So what's Black Friday?
Right, Thanksgiving.
Right after Thanksgiving, right? Will you read this slide?
Sybil's lover, Atlas, was born of a virgin, of course. Died and is reborn annually. Do you see the deception?
That's the question. Do you see it? Right? Okay, keep going.
This spring festival began as a day of blood on Black Friday, rising to a crescendo after 3 days in rejoicing over the resurrection.
So why would they call the Thursday after Thanksgiving Black Friday? So they put a whole label that goes back to a whole different God on it. The stuff. Once you start reading stuff, you're like, these people have no ends to their wickedness. You think Black Friday is just a regular day? Like, no, that's going to another God. No shame. It's going back to a whole other God.
And people don't even ask why is it called Black Friday to begin with. Nobody even thinks about that. They just think it's a good day to go shopping.
I read that and I was like, man, you can't make this up.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the devil's simulation mirrors the truth.
Always.
So
Close.
it is always close. So I'm going to read Matthew 3, verses 1 through 6. In those days came John the Baptist, preaching in the wilderness of Judea, and saying, repent you, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare you the way of the master, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair, and a leather girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. Then went out to him Jerusalem, and all Judea and all the region round about Jordan, and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. So John the Baptist started this ministry of baptisms, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine eating wild locusts and honey every day?
I mean, we can try it with you.
No.
Yeah, we can experiment.
You gotta go.
So we're gonna go to Matthew 13, and we're gonna read verses 10 through 17. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables?
Yeah.
He answered and said unto them, because it is given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, for him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. So again, Mashiach did not want these people to know. So we see that one of the hallmarks of Mashiach was speaking in parables. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. Lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. So Mashiach did not want to heal them. Uncomfortable truth. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not heard them. So he was letting them know that, hey, this is the time the prophecies is being fulfilled about Mashiach. So we saw baptisms and how Mashiach taught everybody, right? Read this slide, please.
The lesser mysteries would end with a water baptism, while the greater mysteries climax with a fire initiation.
So in these secret other mystery religions, they also have a baptism.
Bro,
It's to a different God,
They
huh?
always try to mimic what's going on.
They got to.
Yeah.
They got to.
Try to make it look real.
Mm-hmm.
The truth, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Go ahead.
At the lesser mysteries, the teachings were given in the form of allegorical stories in which the true meanings were hidden.
Is that not what Mashiach did?
Yeah.
Taught in parables?
Yeah.
Everything's a counterfeit.
Yeah.
Everything's a counterfeit.
Yeah, they
Keep
try to
going.
mimic. All of this was to prepare those few who were going forward to the greater mysteries, where the inner meanings of the stories would be revealed and the fire initiation would take place.
Fire. First water, then fire. That's how the world is. All right, keep going.
In other words, it was only at the greater mysteries that the initiates were shown that these plays were allegories which had a dual purpose.
These plays are called passion plays. Okay, keep going.
A dual purpose as both spiritual and astrological teachings, stories that were precursor to spiritual initiation. But the students of the greater mysteries were also under pain of death, never to reveal anything of what they had been taught or seen.
There's only one way to get out, and it's death.
Death. This is true, especially with passion plays that deal with sex and death.
Mm-hmm.
Sex and death are very close together in that they are both initiations.
What?
to-
Sex is an initiation?
Of course, yeah, initiations into another portal. What men are not receiving through sacred sex magic, they seek for in
Promiscuity.
promiscuity, rape, violence, and war, due to a yearning for that portal, and the masters of war know it.
This is the mindset of the devil's simulation.
I said promiscuity.
Promiscuity, yeah.
Promiscuity.
Right. Through sex magic, rape and war and violence. That's the same stuff that Epstein and Diddy and all of them were doing because they were getting their power from a completely different, false, pagan source. Stuff is wild, man.
And you kind of got to do something worse.
Yeah, because you're going to have to up the ante. Plus, like ecstasy and all the drugs, so you got to keep going higher and higher, to even attain a level of being high, right?
Yeah. In 1007, Pope Gregory, I don't know.
The ninth.
Stated, no one can judge the Pope, and that the Roman Catholic Church has never erred.
So
Only God can judge.
only God can judge the Pope, and the Roman Catholic Church has never got anything ever wrong.
Ever.
They're always right.
Always.
Read the next one. Vicar.
Vicar, a vicar, is a person who acts in place of another, often as a substitute or deputy. In religious context, a vicar is typically a member of the clergy who acts as a representative or substitute for a higher ranking cleric, such as a bishop or a rector.
So the Pope is known as the Vicar of Christ. That means he's the substitute of Christ. He's Christ on earth, in case you didn't know that. That's why I put that in there. He's known as the Vicar of Christ.
He got too much power. Then.
Way too much power. And like when you talk about too much power, that's what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, because we know for a fact that he was dealing with our government, the Jewish Mossad, like I said, and then even the royal family and all that government also. Because like they found so many different passports, and they're trying to figure out actually how he became a billionaire. Nobody really knows where all his money came from, and he just had context. And he's Jewish. That's another thing. Epstein, that's a Jewish name.
Yeah.
So,
Epstein,
Weinstein, Epstein, all of them, right? So then, where did the idea of Epstein Island come from? Because, he had an island, right? Epstein Island. That's actually a picture of Epstein Island.
I mean, I guess because he's seen an island that he could buy, he bought it, and that's why it's called Epstein Island. Or is it because of his religion?
I don't know. The first orgy island.
Oh my goodness.
The first orgy island. This was the original pleasure palace. In the sumptuous gardens, young men and women dressed as nubile nymphs and coedish pans openly prostituted themselves to guests in woodland lechery nooks beneath the stars. There's nothing new under the sun. They're just repeating stuff that their ancestors have done, right? Inside the imperial clifftop villa, fortified by the finest food and wines served by nude handmaidens, wanton license took hold. Troops of beautiful youths of both sexes gathered from all corners of the Roman world and trained in unusual sexual practices. Reclined in vast marble halls, ready to excite the elderly emperor's flagging libido. So all this goes back to the emperor of Rome. This is the truth about the Romans that history doesn't, to me. Yeah, I wrote that wrong. So this is the truth about Roman history that they love to not tell us, pretty much, because it will mortify you, right? So Epstein Island and all of that stuff was just a continuation of a sexual, magical cult, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to read a little bit more about it. So we're going to figure out which emperor and which time frame this was. These young men and women were called spintri. Their roles was to perform erotic sexual practices in groups before the head of the empire. A man was commonly known as the old goat. So this old emperor was called the old goat. You know how they're always talking about the goat? Oh, he's the old goat. Be careful with that, because we don't know what they could be talking about. Huh?
What the real meaning
Exactly.
is.
The occult know though. So they called this emperor, he was known as the old goat.
That's sick, bro. We always use that gold thing, like
I'm-
Jordan and all them.
We only use it because they started playing that in the media though.
Yeah.
They started saying goat this and goat that in the media, and a lot of times it goes back to the Baphomet and all this other type stuff, and this old pervert, right?
Weird.
Rooms in at this island were littered with pornography, right? In this island, right? So rooms were littered with pornography and explicit sex manuals from Egypt to make sure that everyone knew what was expected of them. So they got all this information from Egypt. In a private chamber, the emperor indulged his most obscene desires to the full. He had little boys trained as minnows or tiddlers to chase him when he went swimming in the imperial pool, nibbling between his legs.
What?
These are the Romans that everyone claims to love, right? This is the Greco-Roman Empire. This is also always about our children, so we always got to protect our children at all costs. Well, wait, there's more. There's more.
Amen.
This was the royal residence at Capri, right? Where Tiberius the tyrant, that's the name of the emperor, lived a life of extraordinary debauchery. For more than a decade in the early part of the 1st century AD, this picturesque Italy's in where? Rome. Italian island was the principal home of the Roman emperor. Here, he practiced lechery and bloodlust in equal measure, hosting endless summer orgies and watching his enemies being tortured before him, thrown 300 foot off the cliffs into the sea below. The things that were going on in the time of Mashiach. So he was reigning during the time of Mashiach. They are the same things that are going on now. So Tiberius reigned from 14 AD to 37 AD, right? And he also had an orgy island. Imagine Epstein has an island in the 2000s, and his ancestor did also. That's crazy. That's crazy, right?
Same island.
No, Epstein's Islands was a part of the Virgin Islands. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
He became emperor in AD 14 at the age of 56.
So he was an old emperor.
Yeah. Before the old emperor's body was cold, Tiberius had ordered the execution of Augustus' young grandson and son of the disgraced Julia's first marriage to her cousin, presumably in case he became a rival. Well,
They always do that, right? That's normal behavior. So that's not crazy. You're gonna see crazy here in a little bit.
It's crazy, but it's normal.
Right.
A mathematician who displeased Tiberius was beaten to death and then decapitated.
So because he told him he got a math problem wrong, oh no, flog him, kill him, kill him. Take him off the set, cuz. Now that's it. Off with his head.
One question.
You gonna tell me 2 + 2 is 4? Off with his head.
Oh man, that's weird.
Bro.
What's that word?
See, Janus.
Okay, see, Janus, prefect of the Praetorian Guard, was killed after being tortured and dragged through the streets of Rome.
Oh, but there's more about Sejanus's people. Keep going.
Tiberius ordered Sejanus' young daughter to be violated by the execution.
Because it was a bad thing for anything to happen to a virgin. So Sejanus' daughter was a virgin. He didn't care. Hey, executioner.
Go ahead.
Boinka.
Yeah. So Tiberius ordered Sejanus' young daughter to be violated by the executioner, and then had her and her brother strangled with their young bodies thrown on the Gemonian steps.
Right. So like he didn't want to just kill Sejanus. He's like, I'm killing your whole line. But guess what? There's more.
Filled with bloodlust, Tiberius then ordered the execution of everyone associated with Sejanus.
So he just lusting for blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heaps of victims laid in the streets, relatives being forbidden to give their rotten bodies a proper burial.
So that's a wicked type of hatred right there. But again, this is the mind of the powers that should not be.
Yeah. In AD 26, Tiberius retreated to the island of Capri, never to return to Rome. According to
Tacitus.
In order to indulge his carnal desire, there he reestablished a new office, Master of the Imperial Pleasures.
So he established an office called Master of Imperial Pleasures. I need a master of my pleasures, please. You, sir. You fit the bill.
Master of the Imperial Pleasures, whose job was to gather the most beautiful youngsters in the land together for the emperor to defile.
To gather the most beautiful youngsters so he can fluff them.
So that's boys and girls.
Yeah. He didn't discriminate.
Man.
He did not discriminate. But this is the Rome that they don't tell you about. Again, this is during the time of Mashiach. And it's I got this one. His lusts reached even lower depths, and he preyed on the children that lived in and around his court. New names were given for the types of perversions that he did because of his insatiable appetite. So he was doing stuff to them that they'd never heard before, so they're just coming up with names. Tiberius hired slaves to find him children to satisfy his urges. A true pedo, a true predator, right?
And then he tried to find new things to do. I mean, he did so much.
Yeah, he didn't did everything to him. I got to find something else. Right? These agents were entirely above the law, and they were kidnapping victims if parents or relations put up a fight. Some even violated the children before they reached their lustful master. It was, says Tacitus, like the sack of a captured city, because like back in the olden days, if you sack in a city, women were getting raped. Like that's just uncomfortable truth of war.
Ain't no get back.
Ain't no get back. But that they was kidnapping kids. If their parents was putting up a fight, like okay, I'm gonna mess around. I'm gonna go ahead and get them now. What you gonna do then? We above the law. But this is the same thing that the Roman Catholic clergy that we read earlier. He went up there and he got them out, or got their sentences commuted, right, for being pedos. But this is the spirit behind it, man, because there's something about the innocence of children that they lust after. His gardens, where he arranged a number of nooks of venery, where boys and girls solicited outside bowers and grottos, were called by locals the Old Goat's Garden. He loved watching youngsters copulate, have sex in front of him. He had a fetish for small boys, where the boys were trained to swim like little fish. It's fish, not fish. In the lukewarm waters of the Capri Island, and lick and nibble at Tiberius's private parts. That was his fetish. That was his little fetish. And these were the people that were ruling the world and ruling our people back then.
What's the point? You want them to smell like a fish?
It's just a fetish. It gets them going. I don't know.
And they got a nibble at you. Boy, you weird.
He definitely a weirdo. He's goofy. We're almost done. Once, at a religious sacrifice on Capri, driven to a frenzy by the beauty of the priest's assistant. So he saw the beauty of one of the priest's assistants. He lost control of himself in the temple, and hardly waiting for the ceremony to end, rushed him off and debauched him and his brother, the flute player, too. Subsequently, when they complained of the assault, he had their legs broken.
Oh, I thought it was a female name.
No. This is boys. This is men.
Wow.
And then when they complained about it, he had their legs broken. Tiberius was also known for abusing women of every class and status. There was a woman of Malonia that refused to have sex with him. He sent her to trial and tried to get her to say that she was sorry and allow him to fulfill his desire. But she refused most adamantly.
Yeah.
When she made it home, she stabbed herself to make sure that she does not have to copulate with him. Because like it starts to like that demon was on him, or those demons, legion were on him so tough, like his facial structure started to change, literally. The nature of this beastly worship sucks out the vitality of its users. Increasingly ravaged by the years and vile excesses, Tiberius had certainly become the most unattractive of men. His once handsome face was disfigured by a form of eczema and covered with blotches, scars, and unguents prescribed by his physicians. And he's trying to force himself on kids and adults.
Scars and prescribed.
Right. That demon got to come out. Now, Gaius Caligula, Julius Caesar Germanicus.
They were best friends, weren't they?
So, Tiberius, this guy, Gaius, he either smothered his father Tiberius to death with mattresses or poisoned him. So his son killed him.
No, yeah, it was with pillows.
Mm-hmm. So his son killed him, right? Gaius was raised on Orgy Island and fell in love with his sister Drusilla, consummating their relationship with sex, although he also had sex with his other two sisters.
It's like that one dude, the Pope's son, Cesare.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get there. Caligula almost dies in AD 37 and comes back even more of a demon. Caligula used debauchery as power over consuls, raping their wives, sons, and daughters, sometimes as they watched. So this is the son of Tiberius.
Yeah.
Gonna do it in front of him.
Yeah, he was a sick one. Like
Now do you wonder why Trump is not releasing the Epstein files? If they were doing that back then, why would they not do it now?
Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah.
Trump
gonna be exposed. It's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of them. Yeah, and he's got enough skeletons in his closet. Having exhausted the treasury, he opened a brothel in Rome and forced the wives of his senators to earn his party wealth back. So his senators, in their college or whatever, hey, I need your wives. They gonna work and give me my money back, and they better work good too. I need my money on time, he said.
He will kill him. Like that dude right there.
Bruh.
He wasn't a tough leader. He was just crazy.
Again, this is why Trump and all them, like, they had a complete 180. Like, yeah, I don't know about all that.
Too much stuff.
Y'all do what to my wife, my children? And me? No.
Yeah, man.
But I think we're gonna stop there. We're gonna stop there for today. We'll stop there. I have more, but we'll stop there. So, Father, we thank you for your word, which is doing forever. We just ask for you to protect us and keep us from all hurt, harm, or danger. Thank you, Father, for another day. We thank you for sending us health and protection and just allowing us to enjoy your holy Shabbat, Father. All these things we do ask and pray in the name of your beloved Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. Amen, y'all. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like and share our content. And as always, until next time, Shalom, tribe.